What's up, everyone? Welcome to the State Phillies Sports History for July 29th, 2024. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Monday edition of the podcast. It's going to be steamy, chance of storms later. So thank you for joining me this morning. And we have a problem. Phillies lost again, 4-3. That is 4 straight series now. And I don't know what's happening. They've lost 8 of 12 overall. And it's almost as though they're pressing too much. They're trying to do too much, and it's all of them. And unfortunately, and again, this is likely just the PTSD, I'm getting Eagles vibes from them from last year. Hopefully, it's just a little part of the ebbs and flows of a Major League Baseball season. But this stretch now, they have the Yankees coming in, then Seattle, the Dodgers, and the Diamondbacks. It's a tough stretch. And it's a shame because yesterday was Schwarber Day. We went down there. It was awesome. The kids were excited. He hit 2 bombs. And just seeing the game through their eyes, it was awesome to see how excited they got. And then they just couldn't do much else. Nobody else really was able to do much. They only had 5 hits, and 2 of them were Schwarber bombs. Like, you got to be better than that. And I don't know. I mean, Bryce said that starting with himself, they all need to play better. I mean, I agree. It's just, I almost feel like they're pressing too much and trying too hard to get out of it and just not letting the game come to them. Luckily, they were able to build that big lead, so the lead is now 8.5 over the Braves. Zach Wheeler's on the mound. That's who you want. It's Wheeler, Nola, so that lines up exactly the way we need it against the Yankees, who've been hot, coming in scoring a ton of runs. So we need it. And it's a shame, too, because Kobe Allard did not pitch bad yesterday at all. He looked pretty good. He made the one bad pitch, which was the 3-run homer. But they made a couple, like, he wasn't getting hit hard. There was a lot of those balls were like, just over the reach, or even the one that Bryce in the first inning, like, he jumped and it went off his glove. So hopefully they can get it together. They can rise to the competition that's coming in. But 4-3, we need to get it together. But that does lead to today's question of the day, and the trade deadline is tomorrow at 6. Do you think the Phillies need to make one more trade? And it doesn't really matter whether it's for a bat or a pitcher. Just let me know. Do you think the Phillies need to do one more trade? 267-495-8531. That'll get you into the Back to the Future voice and text line. Hit me up on all the socials as well. Jimbo_Mont at Twitter and TikTok. At Philly Jimbo on Instagram. But do the Phillies need to do another trade? Let me know. 267-495-8531. That's Back to the Future voice and text line. Be sure also to subscribe to the YouTube channel, at Jimbo_Mont. But I don't know. I don't know if they need to do anything more. I think the guys they have just need to perform. We'll see. Estevez will be joining the team tonight, so that should provide some needed reinforcements for the bullpen. I'm hoping with Zach Wheeler on the mound, though, it's not going to be needed. But we could be in trouble. I'm starting to get a little nervous, and not going to lie. But that's the question of the day. Do you think they need to do something else? And to recap yesterday's question of the day, I asked you after the trades, how did you feel better, the same, or worse? 46% of you said you feel better. 46% of you say you feel the same. And then the other 8% said you feel worse. And I don't know if those votes came in after yesterday's game, which would explain it. But thank you, as always, for participating in the question of the day. The question of the day today is, do you think the Phillies need to do more before the trade deadline, or do they just need to play better? I kind of feel they just need to play better and stop pressing. Like they're just trying too hard to get out of it, which is when you get into trouble. But this is where we are. It could just be the ebbs and the flows. All right, be sure to go to Philly Goat. I can't even keep up with what they're doing over there because they just keep putting them out. For those of you who don't know, Carlos Estevez happens to be Charlie Sheen's birth name. So, of course, Philly Goat has a shirt that reminds you of that because, of course, that's his birth name. And, of course, Philly Goat has a shirt. So go check it out at phillygoat.com. Be sure to use that promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off your order. Check out everything else they have to get ready for back to school, our fall sports seasons. But Carlos Estevez is Charlie Sheen's birth name because, of course, it is. Get the shirt at Philly Goat. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery. You get 10% off. And that is, like I said, you need to go through their entire site. I've been saying this for a while because there's just so many gems on there that as they add new shirts kind of get pushed to the bottom. So be sure to go check it out. You won't be disappointed. And while you're at it, check out my boys at the Clashing Conferences podcast. That's available wherever you get your podcasts as well as on YouTube. Doing great things now with baseball, gearing up for the return of the football squad. So go check them out wherever you get your podcasts as well as on YouTube. No Eagles practice yesterday, so they're back in action today. Not really a lot going on with them, but the open practice is on Thursday. And that one always makes me nervous because I remember the very first one they did, or I think it was the first one, at the link was when Stuart Bradley blew out his ACL. So the open practice, I don't know why, they always make me nervous from that. Talk about PTSD. But that is on Thursday. Joe struggled in the Olympics yesterday in his debut, 2 for 5 in, I think he only played like 11 minutes. Not sure if it was nerves or what, but got off to a rough start. The United States didn't have any issues with Serbia though, but I don't know. Everybody's ripping Joe, but I don't know. It's the Olympics. It's a different game than what he's used to playing. I don't know. It's the Olympics. I'm not going to put too much stock in how Joe's playing, especially on a team like that. But could be cause for concern. I don't know. I think people were a little over the top with it. Flyers, Alexei Kozlov is not coming back to Lehigh Valley, and this is an interesting story, and it's the only reason I'm mentioning it. He said he's not coming back to play in North America, and basically said he felt isolated. They essentially left him by himself with limited English speaking skills in a hotel room. But then there's other reports that says he has the same agent as Fedotov, the goalie they brought over last year. So he should have been able to kind of figure some things out, and the agent's not back or supporting. It's a weird sort of dynamic, I guess, because there are some people that says he was pissed off that Fedotov came over, essentially taking his spot. So, like I said, I don't know. It's just one of those stories I happened to see as I was scrolling, and I'm like, this is interesting. It's probably not going to get a ton of coverage just because it was a guy from Lehigh Valley, but it was just an interesting, some of the accusations that the Flyers basically left him to just be by himself for a year in a hotel room with limited English speaking skills. But then there's the whole, hey, we have another Russian goalie that we're bringing over that probably is going to be your spot. So it's an interesting story. I'll see if I can dig in and find more of that for tomorrow. All right, today we're going to go back to 1984. And on this day in 1984, Phillies beat the Expos 6-4 at the Vet. They were down 1-0 after the top of the first, and then Juan and Von Hayes opened up the bottom of the first with back-to-back home runs, put the Phils up 2-1. Von Hayes hit another one in the fifth, and the Phillies were up 4-1 in this game. Then the Expos came back to tie it, and then in the bottom of the ninth, Len Matuszek, pinch hitting for Kevin Gross, hit the game-winning walk-off home run, knocking in himself and Ivan De Jesus off of Jeff Reardon. But it was the Phillies with the 6-4 win. Juan and Von Hayes went back-to-back in the first. Von Hayes hit another one, and then Len Matuszek was the guy that hit the game-winning walk-off homer in the ninth off of a pretty damn good closer, Jeff Reardon, to give the Phillies the 6-4 win. And that happened on this day in 1984. By the way, you can also get a Von Hayes shirt from Philly Goat. Pretty cool. And then 10% of those proceeds will go toward the Darren Daunton Foundation. All right, finally, the Philly Olympic spotlight. We're going to go to water polo, and Jovana Sekulic is our spotlight. She is from Haverford. She was originally from Serbia, and this story is amazing. It's a great typical living out the American dream. So her dad got a green card, came over to America for a better life for Jovana. And she loved women's water polo, but women's water polo over in Serbia was not bad, or it wasn't good. The men's team was great. I think they had won the gold medal. Women's was not so much. And that's not why they came over here, but she struggled because obviously they moved, originally settled in Brooklyn and then came down to Delco. But they weren't really concerned about her playing water polo. They were concerned about her grades in schools and everything. So she was able to find a couple different water polo clubs in Delco to play in. Eventually, because of academics and, of course, water polo, ended up at Episcopal Academy, went to Princeton, and now is on the United States women's water polo team, who Flavor Flav, by the way, I found this out yesterday. Flavor Flav is the official hype man of the U.S. women's water polo team, which is pretty cool. Love seeing these guys just go in and support the Olympic athletes. But the women's water polo team opened up their Olympics yesterday with a 15-6 win over Greece. Jovana scoring twice in that win, so she's already making her presence felt. But Jovana Sekulic is our Philly Olympic spotlight out of Haverford, out of Haverford. Originally from Serbia, though, came over here and has excelled in water polo and scored twice yesterday. Must have been all that Flavor Flav getting her hyped up. But we will continue our Philly Olympic spotlight tomorrow. On this day in 1984, Phillies beat the Expos 6-4. Juan and Von Hayes each led off the bottom, or hit back-to-back home runs in the bottom of the first. Von Hayes hit another one in the fifth, and then it was Len Matuszek hitting the game-winning walk-off home run in the ninth to give the Phils the victory. We'll have more on Eagles practice as they are starting to. We have NFL football this week. There is preseason football this week, so we'll continue. Not for the Eagles, but we have the Hall of Fame game coming up, so looking forward to finally seeing some NFL football, which means fall is right around the corner. Will the Phillies have it figured out by fall? Let's hope so. But let me know what your thoughts are. Do they need to make another move? Or should they make another move? 267-495-8531. That'll get you into the Back to the Future voice and text line. Get that. Anything else Philly sports related? Want to vent about the Phillies? Want to vent about Joe? Talk about the Olympics? Whatever you got, that is all fair game on the Back to the Future voice and text line. Be sure to tell your friends. And if you're listening because you found my card at the Phillies game yesterday, let me know that as well. Just curious to know how things like that work out sometimes. But go out, get something in before the rain comes, and try to stay cool. Let's go, Phils. We need Zach Wheeler to be the ace and just shut it down, and hopefully that'll allow the offense to sort of break out of their slump. But this has been This Day in Philly Sports History for July 29th, 2024. I'm Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Monday, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.